Meh.
I would love if just halfway through this, the bomb does go off and it's just fireworks.
Hold on, let me change clothes real quick. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, the chairs, the lamp. Someone had a very interesting night. Everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling? Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here... Wait... is gravity. It's just this image. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth.
I'm sorry, I just love that little animation, because we don't usually get it.
Yeah, no, it's great. This was on the fucking 3DS, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Just her watching the table slowly rise. For the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Mr. Sato. I, too, was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this! A painting of a choo-choo train in the background. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to the one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. But then, why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. Anyway, that is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. This is so off the rails, I have absolutely no idea what the second deduction is going to be. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had before when I fell out of bed.
Let me change clothes here.
Let me change my clothes. Uh-huh. Anyway, back to this outfit. Actually, I have a question. We know Sholmes' outfit changed. Does hers change as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I hadn't noticed that. Now let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? The ceiling. Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain this action is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? Spider Drebber does whatever Spider Drebber does. A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. Obviously, the reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. Oh man, that was my conclusion, so obviously that's wrong now.
He's hiding in the rafters.
However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. Upside down. And on the wall next to the skylight, when he'd have no reason to step there. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up the ceiling rather violently? That's why he was upside down. He stood on his hands when he turned it on. I don't know anymore. Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. And the only way to do that was obviously by reversing gravity. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. It's for hanging bird cages. I think. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end of the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Just activates the time bomb. Sholmes, no!
It does reverse gravity, like, oh my god, you're actually right.
3, 2, here we go! That concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. What? The folk? He can do no wrong. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Holmes. There's just one, actually a couple actually several things that trouble me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your... That's sad. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century... No! Thanks. But your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever... God damn it. Don't actually quote Sherlock Holmes at me. This is not the kind of situation for this. It's a marvelous line, would you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with that exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yeah, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Mr. Sato's lent me once. Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Holmes. What now? Oh, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall, like a snake. Like a snake that coiled through the vents of some ship somewhere. Some speckled band, one might say. Anyway, if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? No? Anti-gravity? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find. Do ropes. Obviously, knots come undone when gravity reverses. Everyone knows that. As evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we faced in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is circular as the coils of the rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth. Yeah, you're probably right. And we must do it quickly before Anik Drebber gets too far away. Yeah, don't want to waste too much time here. Could just, leave the room before we figure this out, go catch him, and then come back. If you're ready, then let us waste more time here. Sherlock Holmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Yeah. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the day... Oh, yeah, we already heard this. Beep. item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that... no, wait, no, it's question marks that we... Me? I want to get back to Susato, I kind of want to just see how far up it goes. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. See... I hate to keep ragging on AI Nirvana Initiative, but, like, that's why the mystery of that game doesn't work. Because you have to literally lose the sake of reality. You have to discount...
Especially in a game that's trying to be realistic.
Yeah, like, at least the first game, it gives you these clues from the very beginning about how the big mystery of that game is how the, oh god, what do they even call it? The sync machine. They give you clues about how the sync machine worked, but they don't give you all of them. And if you think long enough, you say, like, well, maybe it could be used this way. And so that idea is given to you. Nirvana Initiative does something completely different, where it deliberately deceives you. It makes you think that time travel is happening, and then at the end it's like, no, it was actually this totally mundane thing, and you, the audience, are a fool because we've been telling you the story out of order. Don't you feel silly? And I was like, no, I feel like I've been ripped off. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's unusually merciless of you, Miss Susato. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? Yeah, like 5 minutes ago. While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. I wonder if I could look at this upright vase. Seriously, there's nothing else I can look at, like the bookcase or the... I mean, I guess that's stuck to the floor, isn't it? Actually, that's a good...
And the books are kind of in place, so even if gravity was reversed, they're just going up. And
actually, that's a good point. Like, I mean, obviously the vase is what it wants me to look at, but like, the only things that are upright deliberately are the things bolted down. So, I don't know.
So if it wasn't for that vase, you would definitely think.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I wasn't expecting to find such a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Ah, look at that! I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Mr. Naruto, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me.
Take that!
Take this! It just throws the fucking vase at Mr. Sholmes. Ow! The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. What? Upon my word, Mr. Naruto, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, though, it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down, except for the chair, the books, and that vase you found. This unassuming, slender vase is standing keenly to attention. We also could have looked at the hot air balloon because, I mean, I don't want to keep going into this. And unlike the large safe, there's nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never invented at all. My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue without also the paintings on the pic. I keep calling them paintings; they're photographs. This thing. Now that we know this contrivance is not, in fact, an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility.
It's a bomb.
You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here, for some reason. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? I have a suggestion. Quite, and naturally there's an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity. No, stop. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. This way. Look, there's something written on the underside of this armchair. Oh yes, safe 432582. Safe, as in safe and secure. As in a secure, lockable box, I think. Nah, that's stupid. It feels more like a phone number. It's missing a few digits, though. There is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room over there. Nah, it's gotta be the phone number thing. So you mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though. That's crazy. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. I think I know why I like these, is because it actually makes me feel smart, whereas a lot of the times in these games, there's gonna be a point where I just hit a wall, I'm just like, what is the answer here? And then I look it up and
everything.
I present everything, I'm just like, what is the answer here? I feel like I know what it is, but the game is not giving it to me, and I look it up and it's like something stupid, I'm just like, ugh. I just groan, and it feels like every game has at least one of those, and I'm frustrated at that. I don't feel like I've ever had a moment in any of these deductions that I've been like, what is the answer? What does the game want me to do here? Precisely! I believe, Mr. Naruto, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? What? When I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. That's it, and unfortunately it was a library book which you returned and then found out later that somebody else had bought your ticket and got a lot of money out of it, leaving you with nothing. That is a very unfortunate story that definitely happened to me and didn't just get made up in right this moment. For people are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruto? I lost the ticket. I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to... That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart and they always forget where they noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place.
Pulls out her trusted notebook.
Yeah, exactly. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I'd slipped the ticket into, so I had to turn my... Thank you, Mr. Naruto, but I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one. Leading to the state in which we now find the room. I know this is a game, and
it's a mystery, but would it not have been easier to just, like, lift pieces of furniture up, look underneath, and then just put it back down? Like, he literally had to turn everything 180 degrees upside down.
One eye.
Oh! Ooh! So stupid, but I believe it. Okay. If that actually comes up in the court case, though, I'm gonna be mad.
In a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Why did he... I'm the judge. Why did he have to overturn every piece of furniture instead of just lifting it up and then putting it back down?
Because he only had one eye.
Obviously, that makes sense.
Because we find out that he's lost his left eye, but he's left-handed.
God damn it. He's left-eyed. That's so stupid, though.
Let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? The ceiling. Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads.
Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling?
Punchline not found. A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because he was actually Spider-Man.
Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Maybe he threw his shoes at the ceiling because he was frustrated at the color.
You know, at this point, I'd believe about just about anything.
Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed.
It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place.
Well, and shut up. I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place.
It's so funny because the amount of situations where Sholmes helps us rather than hinders us are so small.
That's even worse! How did they get footprints on the fucking balloon?
It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look! Oh yes, and more footprints on this little... I was gonna click that next. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then... Do you think... I get it. He was trying to knock the balloon down, I guess? I don't know. Another Breaking Bad reference. Remember the Fly episode?
Let's keep going.
I can't believe that's a fucking plot point. If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up the ceiling, though? I wonder if there was a fly in the room and he was trying to kill it because he's metaphorically losing control of his life. And it's just it's a very controversial episode of one of the best television series of all time. Oh dear, I think you're going off the rails there, Mr. Naruto. What's cooking meth? This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it does seem to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's helium that's keeping it up. A green gas balloon. Why does that seem to ring a bell with me? If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look. Oh yeah, I clearly saw that before you pointed it out. Yeah. Though what it tells us, I'm not sure. Obviously, a tiny man was trying to climb on the balloon, but couldn't figure out how gravity worked. It looks like these are the only windows in the room. In other words, if you wanted to escape without using the door, these skylights would be the only way. Yes, that's true, but even so, and right next to the only escape route, we noticed some telltale footprints. Oh, sorry. Nevertheless, as we've said many times now, gravity can't explain how they got there. But powerful springs in the soles of the man's shoes could. Have you been having strange dreams as well, like Mr. Sholmes? So I think the shoe is... Because I don't really see anything else it could be. But I'm not necessarily sure. I think we'll get to it. But, like, our options are Skylight, which is what Sholmes has, Balloon, or Shoe. And I don't think the Balloon is what it wants us to click, so... There's literally only one option. Plus, the Shoe is what was hidden anyway, so... Yes, I should Shoe. Choose your words next carefully. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. It sure is crazy how this entire mystery could have been solved with more than a single perspective into the room. It's almost like looking around in 3 dimensions clears up this mystery very easily.
And all others.
And all the other ones we've had before this. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon? That seems somewhat familiar, Data. Ah! It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruto and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Mr. Master Dots claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on that day, there's a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside.
Here, Sasaki, I'm gonna give you a lift. Pull that thing down.
I actually, I think my idea of the person who was in here stacking the furniture to get out through the skylight makes way more sense than what the actual thing is, because if he was trying to get the balloon and he had already upturned all the furniture to get the safe combination, why would he not just stack the furniture to get up the...
or even just jump on the thing I think, not both...
I think what happened is the ceiling is way higher than it appears to us, because the game's limitations, they need to have everything fit on one screen. But, logically, he would not have been able to get high enough to reach the balloon that way. But still, the way that the game is presented, it looks like he could very easily... Not even just on the furniture. If the balloon was a little closer to the other side of the room, it feels like he could stand on that oven over there and just be tall enough to grab it. Because we already know Drebber is a pretty tall person. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why I resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe.
I will throw my mouse.
Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights, and he decided that it would be...
We're gonna find Trevor because he's missing a shoe.
That's just so stupid, but it might work. Obviously... Why? My question is, if he thought he could knock the balloon down with his shoe, and then the shoe got stuck, why did he not just, I don't know, throw his other shoe at it?
Oh crap, I'm out of time.
That's probably what happened, but it's still funny to me that he got his shoe stuck between the ceiling and a balloon, and he couldn't just, I don't know, throw his other shoe at the balloon to dislodge it.
Throw something sharp at the balloon to pierce
So,
it.
yeah, no, I definitely think he was just out of time, and his getting his shoe stuck between the balloon and the ceiling was the final straw. I was like, fuck it. It's just whatever.
I'm done.
Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. Also, find someone with one shoe, and, matched the shoe to the one we have right here.
And he had the bolts.
God, he left so much evidence behind.
That's what the bomb was for. It was supposed to go off, but it didn't.
Oh! You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which... This case is so fucking stupid. Oh, the rope! Why didn't he just start with that? Because I didn't have a grappling hook, obviously. Mr. Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon, and then pull it down to us on the ground. Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well. What's he using? Did he get his first shoe stuck, and then saw the rope, he's like, and he was going to use his other shoe as a grappling hook? That's so stupid.
Her thing called
I seriously,
movies in it.
I would die to be a fly in the wall during this man's thought, like, just to see this man's thought process. He's in this room alone. He's like, I need to get the balloon down. I have a shoe. I have all of this furniture. I have whatever's in the safe and a time bomb. How am I going to do this?
Plus the crossbow bolts.
Yeah, he had the crossbow bolts in the other room, but we're going to assume for a second that he didn't have access to the other side of the door for whatever reason. There's a lot of questions we have unanswered, but if we're just talking about if he's in this room alone and he has whatever's in here. He had fucking wood. You know that splinters, right? In fact, we already have one. Wait, what are we talking about? Oh, a surefire method. No, hey! Like you said. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow? That was found in the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. Now I just imagine he's sitting there, it's like, he's trying to, he's looking at the balloon, he's like, alright, I'll just go grab my crossbow that I left in a bush at the scene of the crime. Fuck.
I would have loved it if it was like, okay, where the fuck did it go? Oh, I dropped it!
He's just... I don't know, I know you haven't seen it, but DBZA, when Vegeta's at the bottom of the lake, is like, alright, I'm gonna grab the other Dragon Balls that I left right here. Where are the Dragon Balls? I left them right here. I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna open them, and they'll be right here. They're not here. That
was
kid...
that when Bulma found them?
No, it was when Gohan found him, so he's like, oh, the kid. That watch. It wasn't a watch, it was some sort of radar. And he was... What does this mean? Fucking Ghost Nappa. He took the Dragon Ball. He just has a world-altering fuck. Anyway. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. It's so stupid we had to drop the deduction completely.